All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of D&D Deep Dive, the show where we dive deep into classes, subclasses, and other features of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons to help you get the most out of your choices. So, today, first things first, thank you everybody for giving me some time to deal with how horrible my life has been. Quick update since my 100th video episode. I'm doing better. I am no longer bedridden for most of the day. And I'm no longer in constant pain. However, I'm still basically involuntarily starving myself because my stomach can't handle most food. So, yeah, this has sucked so bad. But it was really nice to have a week off. I'm excited to get back into it, but I'm still very much on the road to recovery, not recovered yet. So if these episodes are a little bit shorter, you'll forgive me. Now that I've said that, though, let's record a 4-hour long video. So today, since we're done with these subclasses, the other really big part of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, or one of the big parts as far as character choice is involved, was the feats. They added 15 new feats. I've done a D&D deep dive on all the feats in the player's handbook, and yeah, I'm a huge fan of feats. They really allow you to expand the customizability of your characters, and if you use them correctly, you can have a lot of fun making really unique characters. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over the new feats in Tasha's. We're going to break it up. My plan right now is to break it up into the 3 episodes, trying for 5 feats per episode. We will see how well that goes. But let's go ahead and start off with the first new feat, which is Artificer Initiate. Artificer Initiate is weird, to be blunt. It's basically a flavoring of the Magic Initiate feat, which effectively you learn a cantrip and a first level spell, or you might learn 2 cantrips and a first level spell, I think is what it is. From any spellcasters list. So that's wizard, sorcerer, warlock, cleric, druid. It does not include the ranger or the paladins, since those are half casters. But it is a massively useful feat. If you want to add that splash of magic ability to your character without having to take a full level in one of these spellcasting classes, it is the perfect way to do it, because it gives you access to cantrips as well as a first level spell slot. It kind of ensures that it's going to be something you can always use. So I really like the Magic Initiate feat. Back when I was doing player faves regularly, Magic Initiate was a really useful tool for me, because I could give these characters a spell to imitate one of their abilities without having to go full on multi-classing and cause other issues. So yeah, I really like Magic Initiate. Artificer Initiate, on the other hand, I just don't think is anywhere near as useful. You get 3 things with Artificer Initiate. First, you learn 1 cantrip of your choice from the Artificer spell list, and you learn 1 first level spell of your choice from that little list. and you have to use intelligence as your spellcasting ability for these spells. The difference between Magic Initiate and Artificer Initiate, again, Magic Initiate is 2 cantrips, I believe. I'm actually going to look this up before I keep saying the wrong thing over and over and over again, because then I'm just going to feel dumb. Magic Initiate. Yeah, you get 2 cantrips and a first level spell. So, I got it right. So this one you only get 1 cantrip and a first level spell. In Magic Initiate, the spellcasting ability modifier you use for spellcasting is based on which spell list you get it from. Which means if you pick a like wizards and sorcerers have almost identical spell lists, especially that low. So by just choosing, okay, well, I'm taking this from the sorcerer instead of the wizard, you actually get to choose between intelligence-based spellcasting or charisma-based spellcasting. So that's one of the more useful aspects of Magic Initiate. Artificer and an Initiate, because the Artificer is an intelligence-based caster, you only get intelligence-based spells. So that's the first thing. Second thing, there's nothing on the Artificer's spell list that is unique to the Artificer. So literally every single cantrip and every single first level spell you can get, you can get from another spell list. So it's not like this is giving you access to spells that you can't get from a Magic Initiate. This just seems like a more limited version of Magic Initiate. The one kind of caveat to that is the Artificer does have Cure Wounds as one of their first level spells. And normally, in order to cast Cure Wounds, you have to choose either the cleric or the druid, which are both wisdom-based spellcasters. Wizard, sorcerer, and warlock don't get that spell. So this would be the only way if you wanted to be an intelligence-based spellcaster that had access to the Cure Wounds as a spell. However, being able to cast Cure Wounds from being able to cast Cure Wounds using your intelligence modifier instead of wisdom isn't. I'm looking up the spell because again I can't think of anything right now. Yeah, the only real difference. Cure Wounds. They heal HP up equal to 1d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. So maximum, you are getting an additional 5 points of healing, which at low levels can be kind of a big deal. But once you get to about to tier 2, 5 hit points is not going to make much of a difference. So yeah, that could be something that's useful. Let's say maybe you're a wizard and you want to have the ability to heal, because wizards can cast so many more spells, and maybe you don't have a healer on your team. Yeah, that could be useful. Beyond that, you have access to all the same spells. The second thing, which is same as Magic Initiate, you can cast this Feats first level spell without a spell slot. You must finish a long rest before you can cast it again in this way. You can also cast a spell using any spell slots. It's the same thing. You get a free use of that first level spell, and then any additional uses you have to spend slots for. So it's the same as Magic Initiate. The third one is you get proficiency with one type of artisans tools of your choice, and you can use that type of tool as a spellcasting focus for any spells you cast that uses intelligence as a spellcasting ability. So that is the one kind of big change compared to Magic Initiate versus Artificer Initiate, is you get access to a more limited version of this as the same spells. You get to cast them as often, though you only get 1 cantrip instead of 2. But you can cast them using artisans tools and any intelligence-based spells in general. So if you are a wizard, Bard is the other one that I keep forgetting, though they're charisma-based. If you are a wizard and you would like something else that you can cast spells through, this would give it to you. However, as a wizard, you can get things like Wand of the War Mage and other magic items you can use as spellcasting focuses that will actually improve your spell save to DC and your spell attack rolls. Whereas there are no like alchemist tools of the War Mage or anything like that in D&D in general. So, yeah, I mean, I get where the idea for Artificer Initiate came from, but practically, it really is just a way to give you proficiency in a set of artisans to the tools, which there are so many other ways to get that proficiency. And the rest of it is just a worse version of Magic Initiate. So overall, I am not thrilled with Artificer Initiate. Like I said, the one benefit I could see to it is being able to cast Cure Wounds as an intelligence-based spell instead of wisdom-based. If you want a healing wizard, that would be a way to go with it. And a healing wizard could be very, very powerful. Again, wizards with their ability to regain spell slots on a short rest and things like that, like they could be incredibly effective healers if they had access to healing spells. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's not a great feat. So yeah, the second feat is Chef. Chef is a really, really interesting one. It does a bunch of different things. For first things first, you can increase your Constitution or your Wisdom score by 1 to a maximum of 20. That's always nice. Anytime, especially if you roll your stats, if you have an odd number, adding 2 to it doesn't really help that much, because going from one odd number to another odd number isn't better than going from an odd number to an even number. So Chef is a nice one if you have like a 15 or a 13 in your Wisdom or your Constitution, to bump it up to the next level that gives you an increase to your ability score modifier, while getting a bunch of other things with it. So that's always nice. Second, you gain proficiency with cook's utensils if you don't already have it, which would be useful for a chef. Third, as part of a short rest, you can cook special food, provided you have ingredients and cook's utensils in hand. You can prepare enough for a number of creatures equal to 4 plus your proficiency bonus. So bare minimum at first level, that would be 6. At I think it's 5th level, that would be 7. So your entire party, and then it just gets higher from there. At the end of the short rest, any creature who eats the food and spends 1 or more hit dice to regain hit points regains an extra D8 hit points. Always nice. And then with 1 hour of work, or when you finish a long rest, you can cook a number of treats equal to your proficiency bonus. These special treats last 8 hours after being made, and a creature can use a bonus action to eat one of those treats to gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. So there's a lot to unpack here. Probably, I think the best thing about this is just the role-playing aspects of this feat. Most feats are very mechanical focused. Which isn't a bad thing. They're customizability. A lot of role-playing customizability comes from choosing your background, choosing how your character acts, maybe how they dress and things like that. You don't really need hard and fast rules to do minor role-playing changes, things like that. However, with the chef, this provides such an interesting role-playing aspect, where anytime, the party kind of sits down for a break, you can just go, all right, as everyone sits down, you go, okay, who's hungry? I'm going to make up this, or I'm going to make us also some tea. And it just, you can become this kind of very kind of homey kind kind of mothery to the type character. It's like, oh, did you have a bad time in the dungeon fighting the undead? Here, let me make you some soup and sandwiches. So I like that aspect of it, first of all. Second of all, being able to give people extra hit points on a short rest is really useful. I think a lot of players kind of forget that short rests are a way to heal yourself. I know a lot of parties that will completely forget about the fact that short rests are the thing, because they're always focused on, okay, we need this. And the only people that really focus on short rest are ones like paladins or monks, where they get their abilities back on a short rest. And even then, they kind of ignore the healing aspect of it, and they're just like, I need my key points back. Being able to give people more hit points when they rest is a good thing. It can save their hit dice. It means that you can extend the adventuring day, which is especially useful when you're doing things like dungeon delving. So yeah. I like that. The other one, though, actually gives the chef player a choice. So a lot of times, if the party takes a short rest, it's not because the entire party needs a short rest. It's generally a couple members of the party need it. Everyone's else like, you know what, it won't hurt me. It's never a bad idea to take a short rest if you have the opportunity. With this, however, because it says with 1 hour of work, not as part of a short rest, you would have to choose between doing this or, doing the short rest thing where they get extra hit points. But if you don't need the short rest and nobody needs the extra D8 of hit points, or not enough people need the extra D8 of hit points, you can go ahead and make these treats, which give temporary hit points, which are always useful. It's only temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. Temporary hit points don't stack. So this is not a massive amount of stuff, but it's enough that you can give a little bit of a cushion to a player, and it can be used whenever it's needed. It's a bonus action to eat it. For characters that don't use their bonus action a lot, keeping a couple of these treats on them can be very, very useful, because it's effectively just giving them extra hit points in the middle of battle when they have no other use for their bonus action. And again, it's giving your chef character a little bit more of a reason to do chef kind of things. Like, most adventuring parties are just a bunch of fighters, and not fighters in the class, but actual people that go out and fight. And they really only focus on what can I do to keep the party moving forward. Can I get past obstacles? Can I kill things quicker? And I like the fact that you can take this feat and you can turn into the company cook. And you can, while everyone else is busy worried about treasure and stuff, you can go, oh my gosh, those mushrooms, I could totally make an amazing risotto out of those. It adds so much really cool role-playing you can do. In addition to giving you mechanical benefits and incentives to role-play those things. Like, I just think it's cool. And I think any party that has a chef, someone with the chef feat in the party, will take short rests much more seriously, which I think is a cool thing. So overall, really like the chef feat. Next feat is the Crusher feat. This is one of the 3 new damage type feats. I've mentioned them before. I like them, so you guys don't have to worry about me not liking this one, but let's go through it real quick. First things first, increase your strength or constitution by 1. We've talked about that already. It's really useful. Second, once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack that deals bludgeoning damage, you can move it 5 feet to an unoccupied space, provided the target is no more than one size larger than you. And the third thing, when you score a critical hit that deals bludgeoning damage to a creature, attack rolls against that creature are made with advantage until this is the start of your next turn. So, two things. Let's take the second thing first. Being able to move a creature. I've said many times before, I like the controller type character. I like a character whose main goal is not so much to deal the most damage, kill the most bad guys, heal the most hit points. Someone whose goal is to control the battlefield. And being able to move the enemy around is a huge aspect of control. So the unique thing about this is it says when you hit a creature with an attack that deals bludgeoning damage, not when you make a melee attack that does bludgeoning damage. So this can be done at range, using things like throwing hammers, using spells that do bludgeoning damage, anything like that. Can get a benefit from this. One of you guys, this is actually mentioned when we were talking about the genie, the Tao genie, the Earth-based genie patron for the Warlock, gives them access to a spell that basically creates an area where anytime somebody moves, for every 5 feet they move, they take damage. Combining that with the Crusher feat and using the fact that the Tao Genie also lets you add bludgeoning damage to attacks that you make, turns that into an extremely effective way to just add on tons of the damage. So anything that uses bludgeoning damage at all, you can link this Crusher feat in, which is super useful. The other thing is being able to make all attack rolls against the creature have advantage until the start of your next turn is massive. Now, it only happens on a crit, but a character that gets a lot of attack rolls, even if they're limited attack rolls, things like a fighter, where they're not doing a ton of damage with each attack, but they're just attacking often, could do really well with this. Because that making all attacks have advantage against it makes a massive change in the action economy. Your attacks are going to hit a lot more often, or your team's attacks, and there's a much better chance that you're going to get crits because you're rolling twice instead of once for every attack roll. So there's so much to Crusher that can be incredibly useful. You do have to kind of build the character around the Crusher feat to ensure that you're using crushing damage as much as possible. But a paladin that uses a maul, a fighter that dual wields maces or hammers. There's so many different really interesting builds, and a lot of times I don't see a ton of players doing a ton of crushing damage. I tend to see a lot more like things like a Great Axe does a D12 of slashing damage. So most barbarians use a Great Axe because it just fits with that. Whereas a maul, which I have to actually look again, does 2d6 just like a great sword. So a lot of people kind of skip over the maul, skip over the light hammers or maces and the things like that because they just don't really think about it unless they're like a cleric and they're casting anyway, so they don't really use the mace that much. So yeah, overall, I think Crusher again expands what you can do with your character, that you play them very differently, but can be very influential. Now, I did say I wanted to try and get through 5. This is getting close to 25 minutes now, and I'm, again, still under the weather. So we're going to limit this one at 3. I will see if I can make it up a little later, or this just may go longer than most. But I can't do a really long video. So final thoughts on the three. Like I said, Artificer Initiate, I just don't see the benefit from it. You're much better off with Magic Initiate, unless for some odd reason you really, really need to be proficient in a certain type of artisan's tools and want to be able to cast magic from that. Or for whatever reason you want to cast Cure Wounds with Intelligence. Those are the only two reasons I could ever see you using Artificer in an Initiate, and with how rare Feats are in 5th edition, I don't see it being worth wasting the feat on it. Chef, on the other hand, is awesome. I think the role-playing aspects of it are much cooler than the mechanical benefits, but the mechanical benefits are still really, really good, and I like that. I think it's interesting and fun and unique. So I definitely think you can have a ton of fun with that, with a chef character. And then finally, Crusher. Crusher is just, it's a way for you to change every single attack how you would normally play your character. It fundamentally changes how you think about your character doing damage, and I like that. Feats in 5th edition should make massive changes to how you play, and I think the 3 new damage type ones really, really did do that, and I think they're really cool and really fun. So anyway, that is going to be all for me today. As always, if you enjoy this, please hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button so you get all these sent to your subscription box. And while you're down there, hit the bell icon, turn notifications on, so that when I do things like this, or I do special announcements, you get a little notification telling you that I did something cool. In the comments down below, I want to know what you guys think, specifically of the chef. I want just your crazy theory crafted chef character in the comments below. I think it'd be super cool. Tell me about your adventuring chef, who, goes into battle wielding his soup ladle. Whatever it is, I think it'd be a really cool character. Anyway, again, that is all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.